Eddie Hearn has been quoted saying that he does not believe that Oleksandr Usyk can get any better than the performance he put on that night when he beat Anthony Joshua for his titles. The one thing that I would say about what Eddie Hearn has said is that it seems to be more of a wish of Eddie Hearn than actually reality. The truth of the matter is that Oleksandr Usyk will fight better on the rematch versus, his first fight with Anthony Joshua. I know why Eddie Hearn's saying it, because Eddie Hearn was hoping that that was the best that Oleksandr Usyk can produce. And the truth is, it is not. He will be better, and he will be faster, and he will be even more technical the second time around, which is interesting because Oleksandr Usyk was quoted saying that he was told by his trainer inside his corner not to knock out Anthony Joshua during the fight. That is very interesting. I couldn't find the reasons why the corner would instruct him not to knock Anthony Joshua out, just to keep going the way that he's going. But then again, it's also coupled with the fact the fight was stopped 16 seconds earlier than what it was supposed to stop. And I've always said before, I said these boxers and these contracts, they have something about branding that'll make sure that the fight gets stopped before they're ever knocked out. You guys heard me talk about this in a few fights already. The fact that they stopped that clock early confirms it. But back to Oleksandr Usyk saying that he was told by his corner not to knock Anthony Joshua out. I can't find a reason why a corner would stop you from knocking somebody out if he's there to be taken. But the question is, can Anthony Joshua do better in the rematch? Yes, Anthony Joshua can do better in the rematch. But I think once you talk about Anthony Joshua, it's not a question if he can do better in the rematch, it's how much better Usyk is going to be in that rematch. And this time with the second fight, he knows for sure what the game plan is now. And that's the game plan Anthony Joshua was supposed to do when he first stepped inside the ring. Everybody under the sun told Anthony Joshua what he was supposed to do. It was not hard to tell. He was supposed to go in there, be the bully, own the ring, establish his dominance, control ring generalship. Make him miss, make him hurt when he does connect, and that's just the game plan. I thought about this, but I didn't think it was something Anthony Joshua actually wanted to do. I think the accolades of Oleksandr Usyk's boxing skill got to Anthony Joshua's ego a little bit. I think Anthony Joshua went in there wanting to outbox somebody who they said was so much better than him. That was an accolade that he should have left on the table, and he should not try to pursue that. I now know that now because I spoke about it before. I just didn't think he was crazy enough to actually get in there and try to pursue it. But that's actually what he did. Now, people are giving a lot of blowback to Rob McCracken. I wasn't necessarily paying attention to Rob McCracken and what he was saying in his corner. I heard a little bit of it, but what people were telling me is he was encouraging that kind of behavior in the ring. He was telling Anthony Joshua he was doing good when he wasn't doing good, talking about beautiful, yeah, keep it up, this, that, and the third. Okay. I don't think when things go bad that you should blame Rob McCracken or put it all on Rob McCracken. Rob McCracken is somebody who should be highlighted, period. Plenty of people have said something. It's not just me. I made videos 2 years ago talking about Rob McCracken and the limitations of that style. You have to understand, when Anthony Joshua won his titles back, he didn't win those titles back because of what Rob McCracken showed him. If that was the case, Rob McCracken should have been all he needed to go back and avenge his loss against Andy Ruiz. But instead, he brought on two people into the camp. One of those main players being Angel Fernandez. Angel Fernandez is basically, in a nutshell, is the person responsible for getting those titles back. That wasn't Rob McCracken's style that beat Andy Ruiz that night. That's what he adapted, and that's what he learned from Angel Fernandez. Now, I also know that Rob McCracken is the head coach over there. I'm not telling Anthony Joshua to get rid of anybody, but your loyalty is costing you. And what you can and do is arrange the players, make Angel Fernandez your head coach, because as far as what's going on with you, he knows what's going on with you, and he had the antidote and what you needed to go in there and get your titles back. Rob did not, and that's just the simple truth of everything. That style that Rob has is technically flawed, and it's going to have a problem with volume punchers in general. Anthony Joshua went back to his same old ways, and that's basically why he got in trouble. The other thing is, I'm well aware that the head coach is the person that arranges the sparring partners, and he's the one that calls people in and get the sparring partners for the training camp. Not only was your technique wrong, but whatever sparring partners that you brought in, they were either no good, taking it too easy on Anthony Joshua, or just there to please the camp. But you need a different set of sparring partners, because any sparring that you got during this training camp has totally failed you. When you look at Anthony Joshua get in trouble when he gets hits with a flurry, it's the same thing that Dylan White caught him off of. It's the same thing that Andy Ruiz caught him off of. And it's the same thing that Oleksandr Usyk was doing to him. He showed you that not only can he not handle it, but he doesn't know how to handle it because he wasn't trained on how to handle it. He wasn't presented that in training camp. You mean to tell me you didn't have any southpaws throwing flurries at you this whole time? Because if you did, his reaction to Oleksandr Usyk doing that would have been better and a little bit more contained. Instead, it was wild. It was all over the place because he didn't know what to do when he was caught in that position. That shows that you haven't been trained to deal with that, and that shows that you wasn't presented that in your training camp. Those are just the simple facts, you know? But before you can even get to that about Anthony Joshua and talking about his training and talking about his technique, if you do that, you're getting ahead of yourself, because you're going to have to, we're going to have to address the elephant in the room. And that is the fact that Anthony Joshua might not have no punch resistance. That's just the truth of it. Because at this point, do you know what it's looking like? Anybody who's tough and got the nerve can beat Anthony Joshua. Because as you've seen, he was wrecking Dylan White when Dylan White clipped him. Dylan White just hung in there. Now, you see, Dylan White was taking the fact that Anthony Joshua was putting it on him. You know what I'm saying? He was putting it on him. He was putting them hands on him. But yet, he stood his ground, and all he needed was a sliver of a moment and tapped him on the side of his head, and AJ went wobbling all over the place. Same thing with Andy Ruiz. AJ went wobbling all over the place. So before you can get to the technique, before you can get to Rob McCracken, before you can get to strategy, before you can get to training camp, you first need to address the obvious issue, and that is the fact it seems to be that Anthony Joshua can't take a punch no matter who it's coming from. Okay? Because a lot of these guys, what they do to Anthony Joshua, they should not be allowed to do to Anthony Joshua, and it wouldn't have happened with anybody else other than Anthony Joshua. That's also another simple truth. You know? So before we even get there, you first got to figure out like what's going on, because it's not just mental. Anytime Anthony Joshua get tapped upstairs, he over exaggerates the punch. They was talking about that in the fight with Usyk. You know, he over exaggerates the punch. So what's going on? Can he take a punch or can he not? You know, now I've seen Klitschko detonate a couple right hands on Anthony Joshua, and he seems to take it a whole lot better. And I know Dr. Steelhammer hits harder than Oleksandr Usyk. So what's going on? And the fact that Usyk has released to the world that he was told not to knock you out, well, what does that do to his fight psyche? Usyk has already came out and said, I thought he would be tougher. Usyk has already came out and said, this was not me at my best. And Usyk has already came out and said that I was told not to knock you out. That's a lot of things I have to deal with other than just being outboxed, because now you're going to have to deal with the mental mind state of, well, he could have knocked me out, but his corner told him not to. Plus, the fight was stopped 16 seconds earlier than what it was supposed to. So it's obvious I was out to get saved. And being the fact that Usyk said what he said, I was saved. Now, I'll keep begging the question. Why would a coach tell somebody not to knock nobody out when they're clearly there for the taking? I'll leave you to fill in that blank at the end of the day. But when it comes to the Anthony Joshua, these are the issues that need to be addressed. And before you can get to anything about his plan, about his team, about Rob McCracken, and about what he was supposed to do, we first need to find out what's mentally going on with Anthony Joshua. And we first need to be able to pinpoint his punch resistance. Where exactly is he at with it? Because at this point, the blueprint is out there for everybody. Just step to him. It don't matter if he's clipping you and he's getting the best of you. I guarantee it, if you land once, you'll freeze him. Now that everybody know that, the only thing somebody got to do is have heart and go for the gusto, and they'll take Anthony Joshua. So it's a lot of things that needs to go back to the drawing board on this. It's a lot of questions that need to be answered, because at this point, people have been waiting for the development, and we've already taken excuse that he's learning on the job. You can't say that learning on the job stuff no more, because this is a little bit deeper. And the more realistic Anthony Joshua is with himself and in his camp, is the better showing he's going to have in the rematch. If you can't address these issues, if you can't get your training in order, if you don't know who really to lean on, what coach really is prime for the job, if you can't do all those things, if you can't fix the mental gaps, if you can't, then, where do you go from here? That's basically what it is at the end of the day. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think about Oleksandr Usyk saying that he was told not to knock Anthony Joshua out. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'm out.